Welcome to my creative world. Hey guys, hello again, welcome to the channel. And if you're new here, you don't know who I am Ana Paula Otero. I'm a Portuguese illustrator and art lover in general. I hope you like this channel. Please subscribe and I hope you stick around keeping me company. I love to have you here. We creative people always have different approaches to our productions. I came across this idea while I was making my previous video for you guys entitled Old Sketchbooks Tour. While I was flipping through my old sketchbooks, I realized that a lot of the times my drawings were a few months apart. So what was I doing with my creativity meanwhile? Of course I was doing something, I'm sure of that, because I just cannot stop creating. I would go mad. So I remembered about my all-in-one notebooks that I used to keep at that time, where I took notes of everything I was doing and everything I was planning to do. And I used to do a lot of different things. That's what I'm going to show you today. You're going to have a sneak peek inside my crazy mind. So welcome to my creative world. Okay, so these are the ones that I'm gonna show you today. Some of them are agendas. And these are strictly notebooks. These ones in here I'm not going to show you today because this has a lot of stuff already. And why am I not showing these ones? Well, these four are still unfinished, even though they're quite old. This one is on the other side. These ones are quite old but are not finished. This one I just barely started, and this one also, and this one. Okay, I have to finish those. This one is already finished, as you can see, but I just found it today, and I know I have a lot of another ones that are finished, but I don't know where they are, so I'm not gonna show them to you. But I've got here a lot of stuff. This juicy one and this one, this smaller one, and these agendas, just to show you that I really wanted to sketch all over the place. So let's get this out of the way, and I'm gonna start with this one. So these are pastimes that I used to make all of the time. I used to love making them and solving them. I still do. These are word puzzles, word search, crosswords puzzles. I used to do a lot of these. I was intending to make a book on this. I even printed some of them, some of my ideas. This was me trying to edit a book on pastimes. Then I've got some drawings, some loose drawings that I used to make to pass my time. Oh, this one is from my daughter, my older daughter. I don't know how old she was when she did this, but it's my melody. More pastimes. These are Sudokus. Well, I think I have more drawings in here. Another drawing for my older daughter. I think this is Hello Kitty with the ballerina outfit and two cats, a butterfly. That's really cute. Another My Melody here. In here, a lot of drawings from my older daughter. She was really into this jewel pet thing. I think it was a cartoon that was on TV at the time, and she loved it. She even made up her own inventions of pets. She would give them names. She was already very creative at the time. In here there are other drawings. This one is mine. I was doing this drawing, thinking about my agenda. Here it is. This is based on the same idea. Oh, this tree. I really love this tree. This paper is not a good paper, but I didn't mind. I just wanted the sketch. And this drawing, this dragon is based on someone else's book, children's book. In this agenda, I have a lot more drawings. Sometimes I would draw based on the date. And this one says Happy New Year because it's the 1st of January. Then this one I really love. It's related to another one that I have in the sketchbook I showed you in the last video, which is this one. As you can see, it's the same type of plants. More drawings. And this tree also reminds me one in here. Oh, this one was the base for a painting for my daughter, for my younger daughter. Here it is. The glass just got broken. I have to replace it, but you can see it here. Once again, those leaves in another color. Those ones are also the base for this one. This one was the idea, the inspiration for another work I did. All of this is in watercolor, and this paper is very thin, but it holds up perfectly. This one is about Carnival because it was February. This is 14th February, the Valentine's Day. Another about those loose leaves, but I didn't finish painting this one. Here I was studying old clothes for illustrating a story that my husband was writing at the time about the old days. So I was studying the clothes that the boys would wear. This one was from the 20s in 19th century. This one from the 50s. The 10th, I got another one here, and here about spring because it was the 15th of March and it was already smelling like spring everywhere. The Father's Day, this one is a funny one. Maybe I'll do something based on this one for Father's Day this year. I didn't remember this. It's quite funny. Another one about the arrival of spring. Some unfinished ones. This one is based on a drawing by my older daughter when she was really young. I don't know how old she was, maybe 4. She made this drawing where this girl would get a huge ladder and climb it to the sky, and she would go grab some Saturns, plural, because all the planets that had rings, she would call them Saturns. So this girl went to the sky, climbing this ladder, and she would catch Saturns. And it's a very poetic idea. I even wrote a story about this drawing, based on this drawing at the time, and made this drawing based on her drawing. And this little witch, it's a very cute one, and it's based on a photograph of my younger daughter on Halloween. She was dressed like a witch, and she was very cute. Yeah, it has some unfinished drawings. And in this one, I think it's just this one. This is based on a children's book also. I leave the information here because I don't recall now the title of the book or the author. Here because it's the 6th of January, and here's some other unfinished drawings. On this day I had to take my father to the doctor, so I was drawing old people, and I think that's it. I ended up not painting or drawing more in this one. Okay, so that was it for drawing. And here I have the layout for a children's magazine that I was planning on doing. At this time I was making a lot of activities with children, and I find that very stimulating. I love education, so I wanted to do a multidisciplinary magazine for children. This is all ideas for that project. I never made it. In here is children book ideas. I had this idea for several books for children about the Portuguese language. They're educational books and very funny stories as well. At first I thought about making 4 books, 4 stories. This is the whole idea of the project, with several ideas for the several books. This is more pastimes in the middle. And here is one of the stories that I wrote. In fact, I wrote 2 full stories for this project. One of them I even edited in digital, so it's a digital book. It has a page on Facebook. I'm gonna leave the link on the description. If you want to go there and support me there, I would love that. And then I was gonna do the second book, but I didn't do it yet. I have the story written, but I didn't illustrate it yet. And here are all those ideas. Well, this is a very fun project. I'm gonna show you all about it. Well, let me explain first what this was for. At the time, I was making activities with children in a public library. So each week I would invent something, some kind of game related to a book I was reading that week. So this week, I imagined this activity, which would be a series of riddles, one leading to the other, and creating this panel that we would turn over, and it would be a puzzle on the other side. So we have on the other side all these images, and this will be a puzzle. So the kids would have a lot of activities related to this book this day. So there you go, done. That would be the book that I was reading, called Shoo, which means shush. And this was a quite funny book. So these intended to be the activities that I made with the children. So back to this. This was some writing I did about writing theory. I was studying writing. Yeah, this was all that. Oh, here was about that again, the writing of those books about Portuguese language. Oh, here, these are some sketches for the illustrations of Aventura dos Assentos, which was the first book on this theme that I told you, the one that has the page on the Facebook. I even used these in the illustrations. Some more of that. And here also, I used this paper, this squares paper, because this was all about school, even though it wasn't about maths, it was about Portuguese. It has to do with school anyway, so I found it funny to have my illustrations be drawn on this kind of paper. Here I started another idea of another children's book. I even started illustrating this one as well, but I didn't finish the whole project. I'll show you some of the illustrations I made for this one. I was writing down some conversations with my dad while he was still alive. And I wrote down some of his memories that I found curious and that reflected a different lifestyle from the one we have now. Because, as you know, in the past, let's say about 100 years, the world changed dramatically. So his memories are quite curious these days. Maybe someday I'll do something with it. This was for the decoration of my daughter's room. Everything I planned first in here. The materials I would have to buy, all planned in here. This was another book idea that I didn't continue, but the idea is written here. Oh, this was a fun project. This was an activity calendar for children with activities for all the days of the year. I made a maquette for this project, but I can't find it anywhere. I don't know if I lost it when I was moving. It should be somewhere, but right now I just don't know where it is, so I can't show you, but all the ideas were here. And these, what is this? Oh, this is an advent calendar activities for my daughter. She loves to draw, so I made prompts for the advent calendar. I always do that. Every year I make activities advent calendar for my daughters. You know, personalized ones, because they are several years apart, so I made 2 different advent calendars, one for each one. And sometimes I even do something for the Easter. I think I have it here. Yes. This was a treasure hunt. Here was the planning. I wrote it all down like a poem, you know, it all rhymes. And they would go from place to place, finding some chocolate eggs or some goodies in every place they look. Yes, and this is the map, the location of everything. That was quite a fun activity. This year, I guess it rained a lot, so we couldn't go outside to make the egg hunt. So we did it inside the house, but the fun was the same. So I was telling you about that calendar activity book. I planned it all. So this was all that. Another children's book idea. I would have a lot of ideas. And here starts another book project. This one was for babies. And I even started making some illustrations for this. I'll show you. This would be the basis for the illustrations. I wanted to use these painted papers. I made all these as a base. And here I started sketching some of the illustrations. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and show you closer. There's a mother with the baby on her lap. Here is kind of a witch, I guess. Some stars. And here I don't quite know what this is. Oh, I guess it's a baby's cradle. Here's an angel. A big face. Maybe it's the moon. I don't know. I don't recall what I've written. It was such a long time ago. Again, a mother with a baby. And here, I think it's the baby sleeping. Some numbers. And some other stuff. A crown. And some other stuff. I didn't finish this project, as you can see, but I still believe in it. It's a beautiful project. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. And here's another one that's kind of related to that first one. These are also poems, but there are more like rhyming stories. I don't know how you call it in English. In Portuguese, we call it linga-lingas, which means you say words that rhyme over and over again with a rhythm. And it's kind of nice for young children, not exactly the babies, but also suitable for them. but maybe for toddlers that would be better. Okay, now I hope the image is clear. And this now is educational games for babies, for more than 1 year old, 1.5 year old, 2 or 3 year olds. And I would have some ideas for making games for babies. Here I have, this was a project for my older daughter's school. It's a drawing poem. I don't know how to say that, but we write a poem in the form of a drawing, like fish and a boat. And this was the study for that project. This, let's see, oh, it's another children's book story. Here another one, fairly incomplete. Here ideas for other games for 2 or 3 year old children. And now for this one, here are the plans for the decoration of my living room. And these here were the plans for an art exhibition that I was participating in. I made this painting, which I have some images to show you. It was called Gato Tirolês. It was based on a poem by a friend of mine called Alice. She's a children's book writer. And we made this art exhibition with a lot of artists. And my participation would be this painting. Now here is another children's book called Não Acordem o Leão, which means Do Not Wake Up the Lion. And it was written based on my younger daughter's actions when she was very little. So it's dedicated for her. I think I have some images that I can show you. This is the color study for Não Acordem o Leão. Do Not Wake Up the Lion. I didn't finish it, but I did finish the drawing of the pages. I'll show you. This would be 2 pages spread. And another one. They're quite stylized animals. The empty space on the pages would be for the text. So I was thinking about scanning this and finished painting them on the computer digitally. So as you can see, all the ideas start first on a notebook, and then sometimes they take shape, other times they never leave the notebook. And this is it. Oh, this was a lovely project for Father's Day, made by my older daughter. The younger one was too young at the time. She was just a baby. And the older one was starting to make some animations. And I helped her with a script, with a tiny script for a cartoon. And she made it. I'm gonna show you. This was me planning for a contest of a children's book. I went with Não Acordem o Leão. I didn't win. Here I was planning some illustrations for a juvenile book. Well, it's not my type of illustration, but I tried it. This was another children's book. It's a project for a book that becomes an object and can tell the story showing Chinese shadows. Here is the planning for another art exhibition. This one, I made this painting. This is just, I guess, the first study for it. The theme for the exhibition was Tsuru, a ave sagrada, which means the sacred bird, Tsuru. was in Braga, a city in the in northern Portugal. I can show you some images on this one as well. Here another educative game for children. These were the exhibitions that I had works in that at that time. O Gato Tirolês, Tsuru, and Cold May, which was in São João da Madeira, another city in Portugal. Another story idea. This was the planning for a painting. This would be for my living room. I never made it. Again, trying another layout. It was kind of a cityscape. These were the plans for another contest on a children's book. This contest has 2 times. The first time is for the text, and then the second time is for the illustration of the winning text. So I've attempted this contest, I guess, in 3 years, different years. 2 of them I just went for the illustration, and there were 1 year that me and my husband worked together for the text part as well. So this is that book, A Verdade do Caminho. It's a temporary title. We don't know yet if it's gonna be the final version of it. It's a very beautiful story, and I started illustrating it. I think I have it more here, so I'll jump these 2 pages, and I can show you more of that project here. I was planning the illustrations here. Some of these I've already finished. I'll show you the finished illustrations. This was the text. I would correct it over and over and over again until it sounded perfect to me. And here I didn't finish planning the illustrations. I guess it would have 28 illustrations total. I don't know if that includes the cover, but I don't think so, because I always do the cover last. So it's a big project, but it's a very good one. So here's some of my finished pieces of illustration for this story. This monkey is the main character. These are all mixed media paintings. This is some fabric with some glitter on it. This moon is also glued in here. I love all these mixed techniques. This is a landscape, also mixed media. The first layer of this work are bits of paper glued together, and I paint over them. Here's another one with lots of words. I love that effect. Some texture. I love it. That's our main character's family. And here, this one, I'm not sure it is finished, but I like it already. Here's another one, is dreaming. You can see the background peeking through. I love it. And that's about it. For one of the years that I've attempted this contest with just illustration, I have here the originals to show you. Yes, you've guessed it. It was about a snail. This would be the cover for the book, cover and back cover. Here's another one. That would be him in his little house. It would be a mailbox, so this is the entrance, not here. This would be just decoration. This is another one. These are mixed techniques illustrations. I love it. It has some collage. It has different paintings. I guess it has watercolor. It has gel pen or something like that for the line art. It has acrylic paint. You can see that it glows a little bit. Here's another one. I really love this one. All these details over here. You can see the word music in Portuguese. I love this one. And here another one that I love. which would be the interior of a house. And this is another one, the final one I did for this project. I love these textures everywhere. So in here, it's about a workshop that I did for Ajudares in Lisbon's book fair in 2015. I'll show you some pictures of it. I made 2 illustrations, one for the poster of the workshop and the other one I needed because I wanted to, really. And they go together as a set, and it was a really fun workshop with children. Oh, and this would be the exhibitions that I had going in the summer of 2015. It was quite a busy summer for me, art related. I had this exhibition going on about mixed shoes of the characters for the fairy tales, you know. For instance, mine was Snow White, who changed the shoes with Peter Pan. And this would be a very interesting exhibition because children from schools would come and see it. And it was like a game, you know, try and figure out which characters change shoes with which. And it would be lots of fun. Oh, and I made some notes here in another notebook. I would have notes all over my notebooks. And I had another exhibition going on about caricatures. This was an exhibition of several artists, and we would caricature Portuguese children books writers. And that was also a very interesting exhibition for public libraries, for schools, because the kids would know more about these writers and the books they wrote, how they looked like, and would laugh a lot with the caricatures. And I even made some workshops while these exhibitions were in schools and libraries. The workshop was about caricature and was real fun. I guess I have some pictures I can show you. Oh, this is another book idea. I was always with lots of ideas. Here is a Christmas story for children as well. Another one, 2 Christmas stories. Workshops for reading week in schools. I would imagine an activity related to the book I was reading to the children. I even made a creative writing workshop with the children. It was lots of fun. I guess I have images to show you as well in this one. It was called There Are Stories at My Attic, and it was really fun. And this was for another workshop on how to create a book, another children's book idea. This is for another contest on children's book illustration. And what is this? Oh, this is another idea for a book. I even started planning some illustrations, but I didn't go through with it. Yeah, someday maybe these ideas can come out of these notebooks. I don't know. So this is it for my notebooks. I hope you understand the importance of keeping a notebook for a creative mind. I really need to write down my ideas, and not only a sketchbook like I showed you in the previous video, but also notebooks. You know, my notebooks are a bit of it all. There are notebooks, there are sketchbooks, there are everything really. So thanks for watching till the end, and if you did, please leave me a comment just saying you did so I can know, and I really appreciate you. Thanks for all your support, and I hope to see you here again in my next video. Bye bye for now.